I'm Dr. Todd Jones, and I practice vein care in Happy Valley, Oregon, adjacent to Portland. I had the opportunity to do a clinical research fellowship while in residency at NYU in venous disease. And so I took that opportunity and I really, really enjoyed it. And I bonded very well with my mentor, a gentleman named Dr. Lowell Kabnick. And always knew that even after I graduated from residency, that vein care would be a big part of my practice. I did general surgery, working in hospitals and in clinics for about 7 years, some of that simultaneously while doing vein practice, and then decided to go full-time vein practice after about 7 years. It's my interactions with the patients. The procedures are extremely effective. The risks are low. And seeing them afterwards and seeing the benefit and seeing how much that even something that is not necessarily life-threatening, but can have significant quality of life impacts on them, how their lives are improved afterwards. I did 7 years, not including, general surgery residency of trauma and acute care surgery and dealing with very sick and very ill patients. And while I got a lot of appreciation from many of those patients that I treated at a very critical time in their life, I feel like I get to see the impact that treating my patients has had on a daily basis with vein care, and that is extremely rewarding. Well, I think that's about managing expectations a lot. I want them to know as much about the procedure as possible, and is reasonable. I want them to understand what the real risks are for the procedure and what those things look like and how we help protect them from those risks. They're very low risk procedures, but nothing's without risk. So having a balanced conversation with them and doing a proper informed consent is very important. And then doing the best that I can to describe to them what they are going to feel during the procedure and what it's going to be like, because they are awake for these procedures and they are not asleep. The vast majority of patients will tell me that it was not nearly as bad as they thought it was going to be. And I share that with most of my patients. But everybody is different, and patients have different sensitivities and different degrees of inflammation during and after the procedure. And so sometimes things are not what we expect. But that's not the majority of cases. So I just try to explain all of that to them, and I let them know how I'm doing it, what I'm doing. I communicate with them during the procedure what I am doing. I let them know, hey, I will not poke you without letting you know in advance if I need to poke them. I let them know that it's okay if they're feeling a lot of discomfort to express that, and also to let me know, hey, I need a moment or something like that. But the majority of patients are like, no, this isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, and they just want it over as quickly as we can. So that's what we do. Again, so we have a lot of metrics to measure successful patient outcomes. One is the ultrasound, which tells us whether or not the treatment of this target veins was successful or not. Okay, which the vast majority of times it is. These procedures are extremely efficient in general. Another is what I physically observe on the patient. But most important, like you alluded to that I answered earlier, is what the patient feels and how their symptoms change. We have some metrics that we use to measure that. And one is called the Venous Clinical Severity Score, or VCSS. There's lots of other metrics out there that can be used a metric to measure that, but primarily it's about, does the patient feel satisfied with the results? Did it meet their expectations or not? So management of expectations and making sure patients have realistic expectations about what we can accomplish and what we can't is very important. And then taking that information with the new information of the ultrasound and what we physically observe, and coming up with an appropriate new plan for that patient. And that plan could be, hey, we think this went great and you seem to have significant improvement. Let's let you heal up and recover and reassess in 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 12 weeks, whatever it is that the interval requires for a particular patient. and see where we're at. Sometimes that might be, we haven't achieved the desired outcome either from how you feel or from what I see in the ultrasound, depending on what that might be, because not every patient's level of severity with their disease is the same. And then coming up with a plan right then and there to address that. If you think you've got significant symptoms of swelling or any other symptom pain that you think might be associated with veins, one, you don't have to live with that if you don't want to, okay? Two, also, this is a chronic progressive condition that's related to time and gravity and genetics. Although we cannot modify those three factors, that doesn't mean that we cannot treat what is malfunctioning now in that system and improve your quality of life now. And although you can make new veins in the future as well, that is not, in my opinion, at least my biased opinion, not necessarily always a good reason not to do something either, because we can improve it now. And if we improve it now, then that means even if it comes back in the future or something new happens in the future with the veins, it still won't be better than it would be if we did nothing. And treating it earlier rather than waiting until it gets really bad is almost always easier also. And then from a fear standpoint, these are minimally invasive procedures that are very proven in their effectiveness and in their safety. Nothing is 100% safe in medicine or in life, and nothing is 100% effective in medicine or in life. And there's also no downside to getting more information. So I'm happy to see them, even if they're not ready to do something about it.